So welcome to today's fit. We've got Ahmed in today, who we've seen before for driver, but we've been looking at irons today. So you play up at Lytham.
Yes,
which is a beautiful course. I'm biased because I played it well. It's clearly a great course. But with the irons, anything particular that you're looking to change, or is there a particular focus for them, or is it more just make sure they're doing what they should be?
Well, I think, yeah, it's a few things. I've had them about 3 years now, so making sure that as my swing has evolved, making sure that they're still fit for purpose. I love them. I think they're beautiful, but I think I want to make sure that I'm dialed in and getting the most out of my equipment, and then as I continue to evolve my swing, that they can sort of keep up with that as well. Yeah.
So we did, first time when Ahmed came in, we did a little bit of reworking on the weighting of them, and that's sort of headed to a little bit of development. So we're going to take more of a deep dive to the irons. Let's get cracking. Yeah, so essentially what I alluded to earlier about where we did a little bit of a base work, Ahmed's irons previously were very light swing weight. So that just meant there wasn't really any feel for the club head, and we took a very brief look when we spec'd out driver and found just by adding a bit of weight just helped the timing. So we did a bit of lead taping and a bit of re-weighting. So swing weight's now around the D1 mark, it's like C8.5 previously. But the main bit that we're seeing in the setup is in the wedges, the 54 is actually a little shorter than the others, so it comes out light compared to the 50 and 58 that are a little longer than standard. So that's a bit of a discrepancy. Otherwise, it's really a case of making sure that Ahmed and the clubs are really syncing up. He's got some good speed, and I just think where potentially if we can give a little bit more feel for the club, some of the swing work that has been doing in principle should just be easy just to knit together, but the nuts and bolts of the swing are in a lovely place. So. Okay, lovely, yeah. So swing line's great. The lines you're putting the club on is really nice. We can see, path-wise, first couple are a little out to wind, and then you've got them absolutely lined up. So and even out to wind, a couple of degrees, not even remotely worried about that. Generally speaking, the angle of attack's in a good spot, 2-3 degrees down. Club face gets a little bit variable. I think this is where, for me, it just looks like you're having to fetch the club a little bit. And so if you've got, as we were saying there, your kind of range of motion, if you can turn a long way, as you then start down, it kind of exaggerates it a little bit as the upper body catches up with the hip turn. And that's where I think the club gets a little behind, and then you've got to get it to the ball. And that's where the low point's a bit variable. Because so you're putting on absolutely lovely lines, and it's not like you're not getting downward on the ball, but it's just not with you. So your low point gets behind you a little bit if the club gets catapulted behind.
Right.
You then got to fetch at it, and that's when it can kind of flick at it as well. Or you then have to push the handle at it, and that's the one right. So I'd like to see, as you turn through, the club just come with you a little bit more easily, which is realistically getting a bit of dead weight out the kind of the top half.
Okay.
Because there's a bit more in the tank from an efficiency point of view. That second to last one, okay, face a little bit open. Click the right screen, a little bit into the heel, so you're losing a little bit from a strike point of view, just into the heel side, but again, that kind of comes with, if it gets a little behind, then it can get outside rather than actually coming with and coming in. So you're doing an awful lot right, but I think we can just tidy up the strike, which will give a bit more efficiency, help just to cover it a bit more, kind of help you get where you're trying to impact-wise.
Yeah.
That should then bind together and mean that the miss becomes less of a miss, but ultimately you just get a bit more face control, a low point control. But when you get it, if we can just drop the launch angle, especially taking into account where you play, if we can just drop the launch angle a little bit, that'd be great. But I think we can do that by helping get a bit of handle lead through getting the club coming with you a bit more easily rather than having to fetch at it.
Okay, sounds great.
So, but yeah. Swing's looking nice. I mean, it's not like the shot spread's bad.
Yeah.
So, beat your foursomes partner's happy. But, yeah,
it's definitely improved.
So I'll get current version of that head to start with, and then we'll look at shaft weights first and see if we can get that low point a bit further forward.
That's a bad strike. Apologies.
Did it? Let me just check whether it. I did get it. Yeah. I was just thinking about it for a few moments. Okay. Okay, so what I did, I took about 7 or 8 grams out the shaft weight, but I left a bit of mass down the bottom end. And at the moment, it's just a little too tip heavy.
Okay.
So it's just dropping it open a bit. So I definitely can see where it's easier to swing.
Yeah.
But I just want to make it a little more evenly distributed rather than tip heavy.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Definitely less. I still went a bit right, but definitely bottom end didn't drop under as much with less tip weight. Okay. I'll see one more of that.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
One more. One more.
I think that's slightly light. I'm gonna.
Do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I won't put it away yet, but
Okay,
I'll leave
all right.
it to the side. But I think that's just, we've just dropped a little bit too light. So because we still want the club to take you through the ball a little bit. So if we go too light, the momentum of the club isn't actually pulling you through the ball, so creating the kind of release.
Yeah.
So you end up having just a feel for the club a little bit. Looks like, especially that last one, where they'd gone a bit right, and then you went to correct it, and it just lost the club head.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to take the mass back up a little bit. So it dropped down to about 110 grams. So
Okay.
taking 10 grams out of your current one. So I'm just going to take that up a few grams.
Okay, cool.
So I can get this out.
So I think precision golf's reputation in the UK especially is that of being the best fitting facility there is, not just for equipment, but also the physical side of things and the coaching as well. As someone who's gotten back into golf in the last sort of 3 to 5 years, I know how important the progression of equipment is, having good flexibility, having good coaching. So if I want to maximize my skill level or my potential, I don't see a better place than here to do that. Just because of the attention, the quality, the equipment, everything that you have at your disposal, you're not leaving any stone unturned. It then becomes a you thing where you have to put the time in to improve, to groove the swing, to practice, to work on your physical side of things as well. So I'm committed, and it's great to be able to come here to know that given my commitment level, I'll get the most out of it. I'm throwing my hands though, that's what I think. Let me see if I can.
Okay.
That one felt better, maybe a bit more left. No, it's not bad.
Technically slightly left.
No, really, yeah. Yeah.
It had all of 3 foot of shot shape on that one. Okay, interesting. I can definitely see where a little lighter, there's a little less, have to kind of play catch up to it.
Yeah, for sure.
There's still a little bit of
It's not as hard work for
feeling
sure.
for club face alignment, but it's definitely less hard work.
Poor. It's that back of the heel shot.
Okay, it's not far off. It's whether it's one of those where you're kind of also used to having to almost sort of push the club with the ball, that actually stripping it back and just becoming 2 turns and a collect, because you're on nice lines. It's whether a bit of this is almost decluttering a bit and letting the swing go, or whether where we've gone back up to is just slightly throwing the timing off. So I'm just going to sort of find a halfway house.
Yeah. Oh, I felt myself come off the ball there. Apologies, that was a bad swing. I mean, it's fine. I'm not going to complain about
Commercial.
that. Yeah. But it was.
Yeah.
I am leaving my hands
Let's
open.
go back to that last one. I think that, so kind of splitting in that kind of 110 to 115 gram area. It's one of those where because you're someone who does work on their game,
Yeah.
I need to be conscious of not making it too easy, because otherwise it doesn't actually reward you for making a better move. It kind of lets you get away with. So for you, balance is massively key. Yeah. So partly with the amount of range of motion you get, that can get you. What you're saying about keeping weight in the front of your feet. If I can't go beyond that, either you then have to come completely out of the posture to get back, and then I'll throw my whole posture off. But for you, because you carry on going, that can get the club behind, which pulls the mass back, which pulls you onto your heels. So actually, for you, it's the more kind of centered you can keep it and stay nice and balanced, then that tightens things up a heck of a lot. The moment you get that, if you haven't got the mass there to commit with, if you're more balanced, you're going to move the club more efficiently. So you're actually going to put more energy into the club, rather than us having to find your balance a little bit. And when we go lighter, then you can get away with being a little bit off. Whereas actually, we're still going to go slightly lighter than those. So we're still making it a bit easier to get the best out of them. But I don't want to make it too easy. Yeah. Otherwise, as I say, it doesn't actually tell you when you get it right.
Yeah.
So that kind of input-output feedback suddenly becomes, well, was it just a good save, or was it actually a better move?
Yeah.
And so I kind of want to reward your better moves.
Thank you. Yeah. As I look to improve as well, I think it's important for me to keep that feel, to know the difference between a lucky shot and a good shot. Yeah.
Nice.
It is going very high though, isn't it?
Those couple just popped a little bit, and that had a little bit more fade to it, so path got a little more across, but that has just popped the spin a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see one more of that.
I do like it though. It feels much nicer. The last two have been more comfortable swings. Knew that would happen.
Golf being golf, isn't it?
Knew that would happen. Let's ignore that one.
She's a cruel game, golf.
She is, definitely. Keeps me honest.
Okay.
Still,
Okay.
it's just that low point. If I get that low point ahead, I think that's looking really good.
Yeah. What I liked about the first couple with that is you could see as you start down, the club kind of just drop into plane and stay with you nicely. I'm going to go back to one we did earlier.
Okay.
There are a couple that are slightly heel strike, so I think it was that. Actually, no, that one's probably the first one was just a little bit into the heel.
Yeah.
As you say, that second one, the flight just popped a little bit. We'll see what this other shaft does with that. Yeah.
No. Pull. Come on.
Yeah, so interesting. One of the things I was thinking about when you were set up, and I didn't want to say it before you hit,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to kind of get any other thoughts, but that swing was very much more a case of looked like you just swung.
Yeah.
The previous one looked like there was an awful lot going on in your head, and the extra bit of flow that you had there just helped get everything through the back of the ball. I think some of the previous swing looked a little bit kind of swing by numbers. I think a bit of that is with your current ones, we'll go back to those in a moment, there's a little bit of having to get the club to the ball. By dropping a bit of weight, it lets you just move through the shot a little bit more freely. Like that one there, it's angle attack 3.6, path 1.5, face to path 1.3. The strike point's very slightly in the heel, which is robbing you of 6 or 7 yards. But it's interesting going back to that shaft, it's pulled the spin down from the earlier one to help you square the face up a little bit more, which is where that flight strength, the launch and spin, like the first one back with it, 17.8 launch, 5.1 on spin, rather than 18, 19 launch and 5.4. It's definitely getting you in a better place. Now, ironically, this is the same shaft but 5 grams lighter. So it's not wildly different, but I think what that lets you do is you're not having to kind of fight to get it there or be absolutely spot on to get it to the ball, but it still allows you to be committed, but it means you're not having to hit at it, which then allows you to, say, as you turn onto it, to get the club out in front a bit more, so your low point at the ball rather than just getting a little bit behind and dug into the earth, which is where the good ones are really good with those.
Yeah.
But they're really good miss rather than really good miss. Yeah. I think that it's a real fine tune, but I think actually quite a big difference on course, because you're not having to be spot on course.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's exactly what we need. Yeah, for sure.
I'm just going to change head weight very slightly.
Sure.
Just make it marginally heavier. So essentially what we've learnt is, it's a bit of a continuation from when we had a very brief look at Ahmed's driver fit, is that the clubs really aren't far off. The base kind of head style, shaft style are in the right ballpark, but ultimately the shaft weight at 120 grams just being, Ahmed's got to force it. It's got to be absolutely spot on to deliver it. And if you're a tour pro, fine, because then you can't overpower it. But as an amateur and someone not practicing every day and playing every day and in the gym every day, you're just asking someone to be on top form every single swing, which is just really hard to do. So in order to make it, instead of a 95% swing to get the best out of it, if we can make that 85, 90%, still lets you be committed to the swing, rewards a good swing, and where Ahmed's working on his game and loves golf massively, like we all do. Actually, we want the reward when you get it right, and sometimes some mentalities are better that way around, and some are better just getting away with it. But for Ahmed, it's definitely give the feedback of when it's right. So dropping those few grams still allows us to do positive, but just makes it easier to achieve. And so kind of fine tuning a bit of swing weight, a bit of head weight, just to see does that just help the release pattern through the ball, and then we'll cross-reference some heads. But the good ones are really good, and it's just, I think really the club setup just helping declutter a little bit in the action of balance and staying more stable, and then that strike point is going to click a lot more easily. When you've got long limbs, it's hard as well.
Thank you. Oh, what are you doing, man? Okay, sorry. I need to reset. It's terrible.
Take your time. Take
Okay,
your time.
come on. Still thin and spinny.
Okay. Okay.
That one felt nicer. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can hear straight away, contact-wise, that was good. It's funny, sometimes if the club's being left open, for some players you need to take weight away from the head so it's easier to square the toe up. For others, actually, adding weight to the head creates a little bit more of a drop in at the start of the downswing that helps then build a bit of momentum, take the club head through. So it's really different player to player. And actually sometimes erring a bit light doesn't give you enough to hit against.
Okay.
So actually just putting a little bit more on there might actually let you kind of almost let the club head swing a little bit more rather than almost having to feed it onto the back of the ball.
Yeah, makes sense. Has that gone right? A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Now, what would be interesting is I just want to give you your 6 back, having done a load of swings with that, just to see if we take the weight back up a little bit. Almost sort of normalise it, see how does that now look compared to the lighter weight? Does that still look a little hard work?
It's very heely, and I don't know why. I think it is my balance though.
Okay, so yeah, still a little bit
is.
more, just having to get it there a little bit.
For sure.
So you can almost see with the first one, as you came into the ball, I'm going to exaggerate, it kind of got a little there through the ball, almost had to fetch and cut under it, went right. So I still think taking a bit of weight out, those are playable, but only when you're right in the top of your kind of timing and technique window, and just general swing strength window. You're having to kind of muscle it a little bit, whereas just dropping the 5 grams or so means it comes into a more realistic window where you can time it rather than have to smash it. So I still quite like that drop in shaft. But I'm going to grab a different head just to see does that change anything noticeably. But yeah, definitely like where we are on shaft.
Awesome.
So we'll see what slight change in head style does.
That might be the best shot I've hit today. In terms of at least feeling like it was a good low point.
Okay, yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah,
Popped up a little bit.
I don't know statistically if it's good, but it's fine. Left it open but felt it.
Okay, interesting. So it's a little, I went to the T150 just to see whether slightly more, because it's got a bit of tungsten heel and toe. With the strike getting a little heel side, I wanted to see does it help with ball speed consistency? The answer is it might do a little bit, but it has popped the spin.
Okay.
So you might gain a little bit of ball speed, you've actually lost in spin.
Right.
And playing a links, we don't want the spin.
No.
We do not want the spin
Absolutely
to get too
not.
high. I'll see one more with that, but.
No. Yeah. It does feel like it's a bit more sharp, as it were. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not quite doing enough. I'll grab another head just to see. And so this isn't an exercise to try to change them. So they're definitely, all-around performance is good. There's plenty of performance from those. In some respects, them not being being the 225, so being a couple of, soon to be a couple of series old, there's not quite so much tungsten in the sole, so it doesn't pop the launch up quite so much as some of the new ones might,
Right,
which is no bad thing.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty of margin for error off them.
It's not a good move. Okay, just try that. What I might do, if I can, if that's all right, just have a couple of half swings.
Yeah, please.
Just to
absolutely,
get, just to get my timing right, if that's okay. That highlights why my things are not right. It's because I'm just not turning.
So swing path, dead square.
Okay.
So it's not a path, that wasn't a path thing,
Okay.
just the face rolling a little open, I think.
Just do that. Okay. I think one last one and then I'll do it properly.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about this.
Got it?
Seeing someone's swing break down halfway through.
Something you see even the best guys have where they're going along great and then all of a sudden something changes and they, those guys have it mid-round. It's just that we tend to only see the best golfers every week. So actually, it's hard to. I think as a golf viewer, you get a skewed view of what pro golf is because you're only seeing the best in the world, the guys
the best shots
on the best tour, the guys winning, who are the best 5% of the people playing. Rather than actually, I think most players would be pleasantly surprised at some of the shots you see at tournaments.
Yeah. I think I need to go to...
If we actually watched everyone play, if you saw every shot, the amount that aren't perfect, and that are far from perfect that you see, they just kind of get it, because their technique's good, they get away with a miss more than we might. But they're not all flushed.
Yeah. Is that Healy again? Sounded Healy. It's just not sounding good.
Just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit. The reason I went to this head, so this one's the Callaway AI 150, was to see whether it did enough on spin rate.
Okay.
Again, to make a tangible change, but not. So,
Okay.
It's broadly speaking, same kind of launch and spin windows we're seeing with your current heads. Yeah, so probably a little Healy, but what was notable on that swing, there wasn't that drop under the top of the backswing, and that one launch angle-wise down under 17. So yes, it caught the heel. Angle of attack's not really particularly different than where you've been before, but you squared the face up, and you got by not going there as you started down, it helped to cover and deliver a little less loft.
Okay, good sign.
Nice. That looks so nicely synced up through the ball.
Awesome.
Yeah. So contact great, slightly more loft delivered, so a slightly higher flight. But that's one of those you mix. It's quite good contact. That contact with the dynamic loft of the previous shot, and instead of launching at 18.9, you're down at 17. All of a sudden, you get that extra couple of miles an hour ball speed. You get the extra 6 or 7 yards, but it looks like that swing just looked really simple and in sync.
Okay,
So
good news.
Yeah, definitely like where that's at.
Yeah, let's see if I can do it again.
Slight pull maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, slight pull.
But it's
but
not.
what we're seeing is when you get the face oriented, neutral or slightly closed, then down comes the launch, and that one down comes the spin. So you get a little bit of a flatter top, and the more trust you get, I think, to get onto it and to get into that left side, then you're going to just create a little bit more of that shaft lean, which is going to get you down more of that 16.5, 17 launch angle, which then ultimately also gives you a bit more ball speed, and kind of the smash factor goes up a little bit, slightly more efficient impact position, which then gets you up to your, the 180, 185s that are comfortably within range for you in terms of club speed. That starts to happen regularly, whereas at the moment there's still a little bit of a release under, maybe not quite getting as on top of it as you could do, just robbing you of half a club or so. But, and a slightly higher flight. But I think the more you trust it, the more you start to just effectively move through the shot and collect it rather than almost thinking about the swing a bit.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to see just that flight come down a little bit more.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I think I've been scared of the dreaded S's.
Yeah.
And that's what's stopping me from doing that. But I think as soon as I put that out of my mind, I do really want to get into that strong position.
Yeah.
And then to do that. But I always feel like I'm doing that and it'll hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's in there because you're getting, you're getting plenty of angle attack, 3 to 4 degrees on the stronger moves. Your path's good, you get the face in the right position. It's that wonderfully impossible word to kind of bottle up. It's that bit of trust, and then a little more flow. As you get a little more trust, you relax a bit more. It creates a little bit more of a late hit and a lag because you're not kind of tight and therefore losing the angle. And it's a bit of a, coin a phrase, a bit of a 1 + 1 = 3, because you're then creating a bit more speed. You move into that left side more, which again creates the shaft lean, which gets the ball first, which everything accumulates a little bit.
Yeah.
But you say you're doing it from great foundations. Yeah. Something like that.
Should we start?
Just need a pep talk. Just need a pep talk before every shot. So what we've got there is, as we'll see from that, and even that's marginally heel side, but 4 down, 0.2 path, 0.4 face, 16.5 launch, 5.5 spin, 180. We get that into the centre, you get a 142 efficiency, 182, 183, but that had that flow through.
Yeah.
Easy game. Just do that every time. Yeah. Just doing a lie check. I think it's very happy with where the other bits of the setup are. Swing weight, loft's in a nice spot. There's no point us shoving it forward just to try and bring it down, because I was saying earlier with Ahmed, I want like that previous swing, when he gets it right, that's then perfect. So actually, let's not kind of cheat it, because then we only have to move it back, or actually it stops you making the change, which we don't want to do. So really like where we are from the setup point of view, just double checking lie.
Is that okay? A bit pulley.
Yeah, let's have a little look at that. I'll do, cool, thank you. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pretty good. So I'll do.
Not bad.
That's not bad. It's pretty marginally high at the face, but in terms of lie, that's dead square. So that's what we're looking for. If it's pointing towards the toe, then it means that the toe's up. If it's pointing towards the heel, it means the toe's down. So that's, mind you, same as where we were, but that's absolutely spot on.
Excellent.
So irons really is a case of we're just losing a bit of weight here. That's the bit that lets you, pop that down, lets you from the top keep the club, keep this bit coming with you, which creates a little bit more shaft lean, allows you to turn onto it and cover it, rather than having to fetch at it a bit. And where, if it gets heavy for you, you get a little that way. It kind of, the club keeps going behind you a bit. It's a bit like if I swing it one-handed. It wants to drop behind, so it pulls you out of posture a little bit more. In principle, that's just to make it a bit easier to stay within your frame, and then that lets you, that facilitates just turning onto it and collecting it. So there's less going on. There's less you're having to do to find the ball with a club head, which then allows you to repeat into that covered position much more easily. And then you get those lasers that came out the other one. So, but heads are great. Ultimately, the shaft model is spot on. It's just that little bit strong.
Yeah.
So it is a real fine tune. Slightly heavier swing weight though. A little lighter shaft weight, a little bit more on the head. So going from D1 to just under D3. So a couple of points. It's about 3 grams or so more on the head. But it's that kind of, that change in weight position allows you to keep the handle moving, and the heavier club head creates that little bit more of that drop. So you get a little bit more of that kind of lag late hit effect, which then allows you to get the handle in front of the ball, and then the club head comes down, rather than getting here and then losing the head a little bit.
Makes sense.
That's easy.
Absolutely.
Just free flow through it. Don't think about anything. And but it's with what you're trying to do with the swing, that also makes sense in terms of low point position, balance, all that side of things. But you know, length is the same. Length is in a good spot, and loft and lie is in a good spot. So it really is all about a little bit of weight distribution.
The distribution, yeah. I mean, it's key. I did physics a lot back in the day, so
Yeah.
I know how important it is to make sure that it's the right distance away from you. To make sure you're as efficient as possible.
And that should then, you know, where the strike gets a bit heel side, where it throws your balance off a bit, you should start to find that moving away from the heel, where you're able to stay there and get to there. The handle comes in rather than going out that way. So we should start to see that strike point really narrowing as well. So
Excellent.
yeah. So as you can see, sometimes some really actually quite small fine tunes can make quite a noticeable difference. It certainly make it easier, and that's really what this is all about. The game is really tough. Massive thank you to Ahmed for coming in. Love spending time with you. It's so fun having you come in. There's all the stuff that we talk about off camera that you really don't need to watch and listen to, but such an enjoyable session for me as well. Hope you've enjoyed it. You know, I think definitely there's some real positive change to help kind of just get the game kicking on to, there's so much potential there. Your swing line's great, delivery's lovely, and I think should go some way to make golf, consistency of your game kick on a little bit. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming in. If you like this, hit the like button, subscribe, check out the other videos on the channel. We'll probably check back in with Ahmed in a few months' time and see how his iron play's going.